Hi, John Dwyer here, and thank you very much for joining us again. I'm here with my partner in crime, John Formica. How are you?
I'm doing great, JD.
Terrific.
Really great.
And again, just to reiterate that when John refers to me as JD, it is my initials, John Dwyer, so that's why it's JD. Now, Jono, we are going to be talking about Showtime.
Yeah.
And the takeout for you as a business owner is that when you are opening your business, whether it's bricks and mortar or whether it happens to be online, whether it's product-based or whether it's service-based, the moment that you start today's role, you're on show. And that's what it's all about, Showtime. And of course, you won't get any better business that understands the Showtime mentality than Walt Disney. And John's going to explain to you how Disney ensures that every staff member, who they call cast member, knows about Showtime. What is it, John?
Absolutely. It's that on-stage presence. And, Disney, when you go there, it's the details. The attention is in the details, because when you see everything is just perfect. Disney does it for a reason. They do it because they're trying to create this Showtime on stage. And what I found when I work with business owners is that they sort of let down their guard on their on stage and Showtime. It's not as good as they think it is, or they get so busy in doing their business that they forget about what things look like. In other words, when they walk into there's a store, realizing that there are fingerprints all over the door, or cigarette butts in front of the door, or whatever it is. That's on stage, and really, we used to call them magic moments of truth, and they are what we call this. In 7 seconds, people form 10 or more impressions of your business, no matter what business you're in. Think about it. So what happens in those 7 seconds? Well, you can list 10, I can probably help you list 100 of things that your customers are seeing, feeling, touching, smelling, hearing, that is all should be perfect, ready to go on stage, and yet it's not. Example, if I walk in and the carpet is stained as soon as I walk in, well, it's on stage. That's what your customers are seeing. That's a first impression, is what? It's not a very clean restaurant or a clean retail store. So Disney creates those on-stage presence. So think about what would be the first 10 impressions that your customers would have when they walked into your business.
And this is online, offline, because it could
That's
very
right.
well mean what would be the impressions they'd have in the first 5, 6, 7 seconds when they visited the homepage of your website.
That's right, absolutely. It's that on-stage Showtime presence that you got to get them to be engaged in your experience right away. So if you think of 10 or more first impressions, will we say clean, right? As soon as you walk in, the place looks clean. Does it look clean? Now, not at Disney, it looks crystal clean. Because it's every attention to detail. Well, your business needs to do that, because that's an impression of your business.
And that could be if you are a service industry, you're a plumber, electrical services, lawnmower, then the first impression will be your polo shirt with your logo, the vehicle that you turn up in, is it well signaged? So it doesn't have to necessarily, we talk about store and you walk into retailers, I mean, we all know that that should be, retail is a very, very good metaphor for what we're going through, because you do get a first impression the moment you walk into McDonald's, or it might be a haberdashery store, or it might be a cafe. But really, if you're in a service game, the sort of motor car that you pull up in and the sort of uniform that you have on is also very, very important. And if your first impressions are online, it means you go to the website. You want to make sure that the website is uncluttered, but at the same time has that wow impression. So Showtime is not just the human Showtime of your staff; it's the look and the feel of everything.
Everything, and that's a great point. Think of I have a plumber that's coming to my house to do a repair, and they pull up in a truck that's broken down. I can't even read the logo of the company, and the driver comes out, and his shirt's tucked out, and he's wearing jeans with holes in it,
Having a cigarette as he walks up the driveway,
and he comes tromping into my house with his boots. That's a first impression, and that's Showtime.
And also, John, and he's kicked the dog,
maybe,
and he put his foot on the cat. Okay.
Those sort of things as well.
We're painting a pretty grim impression of this plumber, by the way.
That's right. Well, the plumber may do a great job in the plumbing skills that they might have, but the plumber has to realize when they come up to that door, it is Showtime. That friendly smile, we're here to help, my truck looks good, I look good. All of that, whether you're in a store or you're in a person
Showtime.
or online, it's Showtime. And the question is, are you ready? And most businesses are not. They'll leave these things, oh, I'll take care of it later. Or maybe even it's your attitude, where employees come to work and they're frustrated, they're upset, and they come with bad attitudes. They're on stage, and you can't have someone with a bad attitude. You talk about dress. Could you imagine if you walk down Main Street in the Magic Kingdom and there's Cinderella walking around with jeans on?
Yeah.
It would take away from the show, and then she's smoking a cigarette. That would not be the Cinderella that you want.
And she kicks a dog.
And she kicked the dog. So again, your business, you got to look at it. What are these first impressions? And I highly suggest you to walk around, ask your staff, walk around with your staff and say, what is good show, bad show? What is that what we want? Whether it's light bulbs out, whether it's, do you have music going on? What does it smell like? What do I look like? What are the equipment? Are you organized? Do you have a sense of urgency? These are first impressions that are so valuably important that Disney doesn't take any of that for granted.
No.
They make sure everything is perfect every day, not just when we feel like it, not just once a week we'll clean the park. They have to have that park looking clean every single time because somebody new is coming across. And most businesses are not ready for Showtime. And so what I love to do is I love to evaluate their experience. And it's pretty easy to see that they weren't ready for Showtime, things missing. I've actually spoke at a conference one time and I had a flip chart on stage and there was a light bulb out right above my flip chart. Now, whoever got that meeting room all ready to go, they weren't ready because somebody would have said, we got to replace that bulb. It's over a flip chart. Everything we do, we got to be ready for the Showtime business because sights, sounds, smells, tastes, all of those things matter. And Walt Disney was a stickler for making sure all those details were mattered. Every business can do that same thing.
The story when Walt Disney walked through Main Street just before they were opening Disneyland, some months before they were opening, but it was just before the opening, he saw telegraph poles in the main street. And you'd know this story, of course. And he said, what's happening here? And they said, well, we've got to get electricity throughout the park. He goes, well, not above ground. And now this was at a time when the underground electricity was so expensive. And besides, they'd already laid all the pavements, apparently. And he said, pull down all those poles and put all the electrical wires underground. And these guys said, you've got to be joking. It was going to cost at that time, a couple of $1 million, which in today's money might get you a normal regular home. But in those days, it was a lot of money. And he said, I don't care. Put the electricity underground. Those poles are ugly, because he knew Showtime, when people came in, they didn't want to see ugly telegraph poles with wires.
A lot of companies, Disney has one of the strictest grooming guidelines and appearance guidelines in any company. And I always talk, there's a reason why. It's because that appearance has to be for your customers, not for what's comfortable for me as an employee, but what the customer. Now, Disney goes over the top because they're trying to create a clean, wholesome, all-American look. That's why everybody looks so squeaky clean. Where their hair is cut, no weird piercings. Ladies have to have certain eyeshadow and eye color because they want to be a consistent product. Yet, sometimes I've seen businesses I walked in, I don't even know what business you're in because I can't tell what are they wearing. And again, it doesn't mean everybody has to wear a suit and tie. If I have a surf shop and somebody's in cutoffs and a Jimmy Buffett t-shirt, that's okay. But if I'm in a bank and I'm wearing, jeans and a t-shirt, it would ruin the show. I
call it message to market match.
Absolutely.
And that's not just in your communications, it's also in your brand. So therefore, if your market happens to be upmarket and you are a cafe or restaurant, you'd make sure that, your Showtime is going to have appropriate cutlery, the demeanor, the ambience of the restaurant's going to be appropriately upmarket and so forth. So, it's called Showtime for the sake of what we're talking about here, but I also call it message to market match. You want to make sure you've got the right message to the right market, and of course that's Showtime. John, thank you very much for that. And just, I guess, in conclusion, the takeout for any business owner, whether he or she is a dentist, an architect, a florist, a butcher and baker, would be what?
Step back from your business and your organization. Take a good look of what does it look like. Are you ready? Are pictures crooked in your office area or in your lobbies area?
Or website.
Do they look good? Those attention to details matter in the whole scheme of it because it's all part of the show. When I walk in, the experience I get before, during, and after, there are touch points that matter. Every single one of those have to be show quality. And the other thing about Showtime is that you need to be on stage all the time, even when you're not even working, because think about it. If I'm at a grocery store and someone says, how's your business or how's your job? And you're, well, it's not very good. My customers are demanding, can't find good employees. You don't know who the next person is behind you. It might be a potential new customer or an existing customer.
And with social media these days,
absolutely, it'll go all over the place. So you're always on stage. It means attitude, it means excitement, it means enthusiasm, but it means cleanliness, appearance. All of those things matter, and your customers notice.
and the major takeout, of course, is that. But think about if you're kicking your business off every morning at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, you're behind the curtain. When the curtain goes up, it's showtime.
That's right.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.